it's Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about a recent event that I attended called Law Careers Net Live London. That is a mouthful. So this event was catered specifically for law students and recent grads with the opportunity to network and meet not only fellow students, recent grads, but some really big law firms in London. Before I get into actually how the day went, I want to explain the application process which allowed me to attend the event in the first place. So let's start there. Okay, so like I already mentioned, this event was recently held last Friday, but I submitted my application at least 2 months ago, if not longer. And from what I've been told, it was a very rigorous application process in terms of the amount of applications that they had to sort through and the questions that they had on the application as well. So I'm just going to speak about like my experience with completing the application and what I highlighted. And if you're interested in attending one of these events in the future, hopefully it will help you if you do decide to submit an application. So one of the things that I really highlighted was the fact that I am a mature learner and a non-traditional student, because like when I go to class every week and similar to this event, this networking event, I'm often the oldest John in there. Most people are going straight to law school from undergrad, and that has not been my experience. I have 2 other master's degrees, and then I took a 10-year break before going back to school, which I'm currently a full-time law student. And I highlighted that in my application. I explained what my previous career was, the areas that I worked in, and how I thought it would really be beneficial for me as someone who has been apart from like higher education for a decade, how it would really be like advantageous and helpful for me to be able to be in a room and network with fellow students and meet professionals and experts and all of that. So that was one area that I highlighted. Then I also highlighted my interest in some of the firms that were present. So I showed that I had actually researched some of the firms before I even attended the event. Because on the applications, I think it was either 2 sections, it was at least 1 section, but it might have been at least 2 sections, asked you to list a question that you would ask to either a panelist or to a specific firm if you were given the opportunity. And so I took that chance when I answered that question to do research on some of the firms, and I was very detailed in the question that I listed on my application. So I do think those 2 things specifically made my application stand out. And I am so glad that my application was accepted because this was such a cool event. Now, after your application is accepted, they send you an email and you have to register via Zoom. But when you register, you have to put a £20 deposit down, right? So you're basically letting them know, this is my RSVP. Not only am I RSVPing, hold the 20 now, okay? Hold the 20, but you get it back. So today is Monday, December the 8th. The event was on Friday. I got an email early this morning saying that they done refunded me back the 20 quid, okay? So even though you have to pay to reserve your spot for the event, they do run it back, okay? And they run it back quickly. So now that you understand how you can attend this event, you basically have to submit an application amongst thousands and thousands of other fellow law students and recent grads. They select you, they'll send you an email, you pay the 20 quid, then after you pay the money, you select what sessions you want to go to. So let's get into that next. Okay, so I'm going to put the different firms on the screen because there's no way that I'm going to be remembering each and every firm and specifically what topics they discussed during their workshops. So when you're completing your the second part of your application, so after you've been accepted and you're paying your deposit, there is a separate form that you have to fill out where you are ranking your first, second, and third choice for the morning workshops and then the afternoon workshops. I was lucky enough where I was selected to attend both of my first choice workshops. So the morning workshop that I attended was hosted by Jones Day, and the workshop was titled, How Do You Solve a Global Dispute? That was excellent. We'll get into it. And then the afternoon workshop I attended was hosted by RPC, and it was called A Deep Dive into Defamation and Media Law. Also, absolutely excellent. And I'm just really happy that both of my first choice workshops I was accepted to attend because I really enjoyed both of them. So I'm going to go through how the day ran, and then I'll go back specifically into each workshop. So this event was held at County Hall in Waterloo, Central London, and the venue was absolutely spectacular. The views were amazing. You could see the River Thames. On a side note, I did not take any pictures or videos because I didn't see anybody else taking any pictures or videos, and I didn't want no problems, okay? So you're just going to have to take my word for it, all right? That it's happening how I'm describing it. So the venue was absolutely beautiful. And so when you walk in, you have to check in at the registration desk, and they give you a name tag, and it says along with your name, obviously, what your role is. So people like me that are current students, we were called student delegates. And so under our name, it would say the type of student you are. So the course that I'm taking, the acronym is PGDL, which is Postgraduate Law Degree. So I'm a full-time postgraduate law degree student. So it had my name, and then it had PGDL. Or if you were a law grad, it would say your name, and then it would say law graduate. I'm not sure if it had the year you graduated. I don't remember seeing that. And then if you were a professional, it would say your firm, and then it would say junior associate or partner, or if you were part of the human resource team, whatever your role was. And so that was a good way to just quickly identify who you were speaking to. So then once you registered and got your name tag, they had a light breakfast. So if you wanted that, I didn't want any breakfast, so I just got a coffee, and then I went into the large hall. So they had a keynote speaker, and then they had a panel, and that was open to everybody. So like how I was explaining earlier, you had to select a morning workshop and an afternoon workshop. Those were like breakout sessions. But what events were for everybody was the first was this keynote speaker, and then the panel discussion. Okay, so the keynote speaker was Shruti Ajasaria. I hope I am pronouncing her name right. She is the partner and head of Fuse at A&O Sherman, and she was excellent. She essentially is a tech innovator. She invests in a lot of startups, a lot of fintech, and she spoke a lot about how technology is going to be impacting the law profession. But most of her keynote speech was about how her trajectory from undergrad to being a tech entrepreneur was very unexpected, but it was always her following her instincts. And she spoke about how when she was in law school and in the process of nearing graduation, how along with a lot of her peers, similar to me and my peers now, who are researching and applying to different firms and all of that, how she was just doing it because she felt like it was just the thing that she had to do. But she wasn't intrinsically following what she knew to be right for herself. It's just really inspiring because she was so honest. She was so honest about being unsure. And she was honest about taking a path that had not been traveled often. And so there wasn't many people that she can turn to and seek advice, and that she really had to rely on her gut and her instinct. Then after the keynote speech, there was a panel with other partners from large law firms. Again, I'm going to put this on the screen because I'm not going to remember all of them. So the panel had a moderator, and the moderator was taking questions from people that were in the crowd. You didn't actually stand up and get a mic. You had to submit your questions in an app, and then the moderator read out the questions. And so, again, that was really an amazing opportunity to just get insight from people who are now partners at really large law firms in London. And a lot of them started as trainee solicitors at the firms that they are currently partners in. Some weren't, but a lot of them were. And they just spoke again about how a lot of this stuff post grad, and even when you're applying for different law firms, it's trial and error. And like, even though some people may feel like the pressure to have everything figured out and to, pick the right firm right away, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but they just really honed in on making the most out of every opportunity. And that is one of the like best things that I walked away from the panelists. So then, after the panel discussion concluded, you basically went into the breakout session that you were allocated to attend. So again, the first one that I attended, the morning session, was hosted by Jones Day, and the workshop was entitled, "How Do You Solve a Global Dispute?" So essentially, they had a junior partner who led the discussion, and he discussed how Jones Day is actually based in Ohio, back home in the United States, but they have firms all across the globe, including here in the UK. He spoke about the different teams that Jones Day has, the team that he's a part of, and how he has been with the firm since completing his trainee solicitor contract. There was also 2 current trainee solicitors there that was supporting the junior associate, like run the workshop. So after they gave like the oversight of Jones Day, like what makes the firms different, their where their offices are located, and all of that, we essentially had a group task to do. So this was very much so given my current law school student life and how a lot of our assignments are set up. So they gave you a scenario the day before. So this session started like around 11:25, 11:30. But then the day before, they sent an email with attachments about the actual workshop. And so you had to pre-read the information in order to be prepared, okay, for the workshop. And so it was just a scenario about how the person in the case study, this fake case study, it was all made up, how they were German, but they had a business in the UK, and they were also investing in a business in North Carolina, and how they ran off on the plug. And so they did not pay the money that they were supposed to, and they on the lam. And Jones Day had been a part of one of the business transactions, and they just spoke about how in real life, what are some of the legal steps that they would take in order to try to recoup losses, and that this is something that does happen with their firm, and this is the type of work that they regularly undertake. And so it was very interesting. It was like very informative, and it was practical in the way that when you hear, whether it's, on the news or on television shows like American Greed, how like all of these fraudsters are defrauding like, banks out of millions and millions of dollars or millions and millions of pounds. And you're like, now, how the hell did that happen? And Jones Day kind of like explained in their scenario how it happens, but not just how it happens, the steps that they take through courts when there's a global dispute to try and recoup their money. So that was absolutely excellent. I learned a lot. The junior solicitors were excellent as well in terms of the way that they explained how their day-to-day role works. They did say because the Jones Day is based in America, sometimes that they have to work a bit later than some London-based law firms that may not have American offices. It's my assumption, though, that if you work for a large firm in London, especially if it's a global firm, the chances are they are going to have a firm in America. But that's beside the point. So they just spoke about how their day-to-day life looks like, how their work is allocated, so we can get a better understanding if Jones Day is a firm that we are interested in, how our day may look like if we are selected to be a. So after the morning workshop with Jones Day, we had lunch, and after the lunch break, we went into our second workshop of the day, the afternoon workshop. So the workshop that I was allocated was called RPC. Let me get the name right, y'all. A deep dive into defamation and media law. This was excellent as well. So the workshop was hosted by a junior associate, and like Jones Day, the workshop in the morning, she started by giving a background about her firm and some of their high-profile clients, what their day-to-day life looks like in terms of her work life, and all of that good stuff. Then we had a case scenario. So the case scenario in the afternoon workshop was based on Wagatha Christie. So if you don't know what that is, I'll put some links in the description box. But it was a whole situation a few years ago where two women who are married to football players, we call it soccer back home, professional soccer players' wives. I'm not sure when all of the to-ing and fro-ing between the women, if they were both active, if their spouses were active football players, or if one was retired and one was active. I don't know, because even though I'm aware of what Agatha Christie is and the whole drama, I was not paying that close attention to it, to be honest. But essentially, one of the women filed suit, a defamation lawsuit against the other, saying that the other party was essentially spreading lies about her. And the lies were being spread through social media. And then it's a whole situation of how she set up her Instagram to catch this person spreading lies to her to like newspapers. And so the case study was based on Wagatha Christie and what would a remedy be like if a person that was bringing a defamation lawsuit, what are some of the remedies that will look like in court, and how does the court look at the evidence in order to come to a conclusion. So again, excellent workshop. Out of the two, if I'm going to keep it all the way a buck, I enjoyed the RPC afternoon workshop about media law and defamation more, but I learned a lot from both. So then, after the afternoon workshop, we went back into the main hall for the final conclusion of the entire day. So let's get into that. Okay, so the end of the networking day concluded with a panel discussion entitled Question Time: Life as a Trainee. So they had about 4 to 5 different trainee solicitors from different firms based in London on the panel, talking about their application process, how long they've been at the firm, why they thought their application was selected by the firm, and then what their life as a trainee looked like. So depending on the firm, it works differently. So some people, they have like rotations where the trainee contract lasts for 2 years, and you rotate a seat within the firm like every 3 to 4 months. But some people, their firms, they don't have seats. They have like a more of a flat hierarchy where you just can be allocated work from whatever team needs extra support, or if you reach out and ask them if you can work on a specific case, or if they're going to trial, or whatever the situation may be. So that was interesting as well. So that is how the day concluded. So this was an excellent like event. If you have the opportunity to attend this networking event, please do, because it was so good. I was able to make like lots of great LinkedIn connections. with fellow students, and I was able to ask, direct questions to firms just to see how they operate and if it would be a good fit for me. And even after doing all of that, I'm still not 100% sure if I would apply to any of the firms that I met with. And that's partially because the way that the firms that I was interested in, the way that they structure their trainee solicitor contract is that their next cohort is not due to start until 2028. And I don't have time for that. And it's no tea and no shade, but the way that my bills are set up, I need to get to working, okay? Even though I work part-time now, I need to get to working in once I conclude my legal education expeditiously. And I cannot wait until 2028 to do that. So it depends. And when they brought that up, I said it in a more polite way that I wouldn't be able to not going to be able to wait till 2028. And then they explained that sometimes they can bring it forward and all of that. So I'm still sorting out that whole trainee solicitor application situation. But right now, I'm still very much so in my first semester as a postgraduate law student, and I'm still just working my way through my 4 subjects and just trying to learn as much as I can as I prepare for finals. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I do try and post videos every Monday, but your girl is busy. I'm a full-time law student and I work part-time. My time is very limited. So I appreciate all of the likes, all of the shares, because I'm busy, and while I am shooting this YouTube video, I very much so should be studying, okay? I should be studying, I should be reading, I should be preparing for finals, but I am shooting this YouTube video. So I appreciate y'all for watching, and I will appreciate you more if you like, shared, and subscribe to my channel. See y'all later. Bye.